welcome to Scissors Snack Sandwich. Today I'm going to take a quick look at this sheep coin. Now, I'm obviously biased on this. I created this sheep coin. I deployed it. I did everything pretty much about this, so take that into account when you're thinking about this coin. Basically, I want to explain to you what it is and how it works and kind of what it does. But before I do that, I would like to talk a little bit about the motivation behind me creating this token and why I did it. I saw that the meme coins were getting a lot of attraction, and I felt left out of the space because I didn't take part in any of these meme coins. So instead of aping into meme coins and getting rugged or getting, buying the top and stuff like that, I decided to launch my own coin to learn about how these coins work and what is the deal with them. Okay, I have some charts to talk about what I learned and kind of the outcome of this sheep coin. And I'll show you those charts after I show you the flow chart and explain to you how this token works, okay? So it's a sheep coin, and you can go through my tweets. I pretty much, on my profile here, on my Twitter profile, I kind of go through everything that I've done. But let's go to the flow chart now, and I'll explain to you how this token works and why it's not just a simple meme coin, but it's still a meme coin. If you would like to support the channel, I would suggest you to check out the secretsandwich.xyz. It's the Secret Sandwich NFT project. You can come here, you can mint an NFT, or you can come and check out your NFTs. Okay, so let's get back to it. Okay, so here we are on the flowchart. We have DYOR here, the creator of the sheep coin, and we have Boosted Bill, who is probably a better character to use to play with this sheep coin. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to mention is that the sheep coin has a version 2. Because the version 1 had a small bug inside it. So I did learn something from that experience in itself. Basically, I had used message sender instead of from for one of the calculations, and it caused a bug to happen. I'm not going to get into the bug too much, but just know that the version 1 had a bug, and then the version 2, I corrected the bug and redeployed and made all the version 1 people in the same situation that they were in the version 1, and so forth. So let's get into this a little bit and let's see how this sheep coin works, okay? So the first thing is DYOR created the sheep coin and provided initial liquidity. I put all of the sheep coin into it. I didn't keep any for myself. I didn't give any to anybody. Now the reason for this is because if I put the ETH in with my sheep coin, then I have almost nothing to lose because my ETH is still there. If people buy the sheep coin and dump on me, then I'm even going to end up with more ETH in the end, because the trading fees, right? Now, if 100% of the people buy it and 100% of the people sell it, if I were to then dismantle this LP, I would end up with more ETH than I started with, right? So that's a good thing to know and a good thing to consider when you're playing with these sheep coins. Now, if you airdrop or you hold some for yourself, or especially if you airdrop, like rent this token to people, or you give it to influencers to shill it, they are going to sell into the pool and take some of my initial ETH. So this is why I decided, let's put it all in and call it a fair launch. And that's basically what it is. It is a fair launch. The people who come can buy it. Now, with most meme coins, whoever is here first gets to buy a whole bunch of it, a lot of it, okay? So this is one of the problems I tried to solve with this meme coin design, was to eliminate or slow down the people from accumulating a vast amount of tokens just by being first, okay? So let's talk into how this system works. So the first thing is I added this counter into the sheep coin tokenomics, or into the code, and it's called the herd size, okay? Now the herd size is a measure of how many people hold this token, okay? I started it at 1. Now I learned later that that wasn't a great idea, and I'll talk about that at the end of this flowchart. Now, basically what this mechanic is it checks every time someone transfers this. Every time there's a transfer of the sheep coin, the location where it goes, it checks the balance of that sheep coin. Like if in this case Boosted Bill has no sheep coin, so he has a balance of 0, so then the herd size grows by 1. And then the opposite is true. If Dollar or Boosted Bill empties his wallet of all the sheep coins he has, he takes his balance to 0, then the sheep coin or the herd size will be decreased by 1, okay? And this is kind of where the calculation of the version 1 bug came from, is this herd size was decreased even though it wasn't the owner wasn't actually going to balance of 0, whereas because they were running it through routers and stuff like that. So anyways, so that solves that problem has been solved. So very simple. If you have 0 tokens and you get some tokens, then the herd size goes up by 1. So it's a counter of how many people hold this token. Okay. Now the other key thing here is the herd size restricts the amount of tokens you can get. So if the herd size is, let's say, a number of 256 wallets have at least one or some amount of these sheep coin inside their wallet, then you can transfer a maximum amount of 256. So the idea here was that the people who came first were only able to buy 1 token or 2 tokens or 3 tokens. As the herd size grew, then people could buy more and more and more of these tokens, okay? Now, you could also send the token to somebody else. Now, in version 2, you have to send at least more than 1 sheep coin. You can't send dust all over the place. You have to send 1 sheep coin to someone else. So I could send at least 1 sheep coin to his brother. Boosted Bill could give it to Dollar Bill here, and that would increase the herd size by 1 as well. So you can disperse it in that method. But then, if he sells it, he's basically taking the ETH that he used to buy it, right? In a sense, right? Now there is other players inside here as well. The second thing I want to talk about is because of this herd size, right? There's 1 million sheep coin in this LP. So when I created the LP, the herd size was disabled, and then I enabled it, and people could start trading it, right? Now, in the case that this project does go to 0, right, or this project needs to be dismantled, or everyone's sold back in, and all it is the initial LP, then Caesar here would like to dismantle it. I'm not going to leave the ETH there and just waste it, right? So I have this function called the lassie, and what the lassie does is I send out the lassie. I call the lassie function, and it starts a clock of 1 week. When that 1 week is done, then this herd size does not affect the amount of tokens that can be shipped or sent. So then Caesar can dismantle this LP, okay? Because this LP is in essence locked by the herd size, right? To some extent. I could withdraw 256 at a time, but that would be wasteful, right? So I can just turn off the herd size need by sending out lassie and herding up these sheep, okay? Now the second thing I built was called a cabin. Now a cabin is an LP locker. So I take the LP token, I stick it in the cabin. It's locked in the cabin in the same manner as this. If I want to get the LP out of the cabin, then I need to start a time lock, okay? So I called it collect the water to put out the fire, right? So after 1 week of starting this clock, then I can dismantle this. So it's not a 1 week lock per se. It's not a time lock. It's a permanent lock with a 1 week cooldown on taking it out. And that's the same with the lassie here. It's always there, always herd sheep. And then if I want to send lassie out, I can send lassie out and wait a week for this to actually turn off, okay? Now, the other thing the cabin did was I put a feature in there where anybody who wants to can donate ETH through the cabin to me. Now, the idea here is for this ETH to compensate my ETH that I put into the initial liquidity pool, right? And then if this ETH exceeds the number that I set, now I set a little bit more than this because I wanted to just say, give me, if you want to take advantage of this, if you want to donate more than what I initially put, plus a little bit for my time and experimentation and all my coding and stuff like that, then please do. So they could send ETH through this, and then it will make the public function to burn the LP. So in this case, you could burn this LP token and make it irretrievable ever. So it gets sent to the burn address, okay? If that ETH has been recompensated to the person who created or who put the LP into the cabin, okay? Now, like I said, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the issues that I found while dealing with this token, and meme coins in general, I believe, will have this same issues, but maybe my coin actually has some of these issues in excess. Okay, so the first thing is the herd size versus the gas. Okay, when I first started this, I started with a herd size of 1. Okay, so in order to buy 1 token from this pool, you need to spend some gas, and that gas cost exceeded the cost of the sheep token by quite a bit. Okay, so at first what I had to do was buy. So I started off at 1 because the LP is number 1, and Caesar had none, so I bought 1. Now the herd size is 2. So I bought 2, 2, 2. And then I sent a bunch of people 1, 1, 1, 1. And I artificially brought up that herd size. So then when I started telling people that they could take part in this, there was a herd size that was around 100 to 200, and it made more sense for people to buy it. So the small herd size versus the gas was definitely an issue. When I launched version 2, I set the herd size to like 180 something. I think. So I set the size pretty high to start because there was already a whole bunch of holders as well. So it kind of started off at a gas price that was like equal to how much you spend. So you spend, let's say $2 in gas, and you can buy $2 worth of sheep coin. Okay, so it's still not ideal. It's not great, but at least you're not paying $2 to get 10 cents, right? So anyhow, so you get the idea. So that was a problem that I noticed with the sheep coin. A second problem that I noticed was it gave an advantage to the bots. Okay, because when Dollar Bill wants to buy, he can buy like 256, right? Assuming that the herd size is 256, he could buy 256, and then he could buy 256, and then he could buy 256 because he's not changing the herd size because he already has a balance, right? So he could just keep buying 256, but he has to do it manually, right? Whereas a bot can just be like, hammer, buy. So it kind of gave the bots an actual advantage over the users, and that's a problem, right? Now, the last thing I would like to talk about is the UX discomfort, okay? It was pretty uncomfortable for people to buy this sheep coin from the LP for two reasons. Number one, the reason I just mentioned, they have to manually put it in. I launched this on Camelot Dex because that's what people voted for. They wanted it there, so that's where I put it, right? So on Camelot Dex, the issue is that, one, it forgets what number you put before. So you do a swap, and then it refreshes the whole user interface, and you have to re-input the numbers again. So it slows you down, right, in that sense. And the second thing is you cannot tell the front end how many tokens you want to get and just accept what the cost of those tokens are. You can only tell it how much you want to spend. So you have to kind of play with the numbers until you get it close to the herd size, and then you can buy it. You can buy that herd size. And sometimes there's slippage, there's price impact, or there's herd size change, right? And as the herd size is changing, it might go down, and then you end up not actually being able to buy them, right? So there was some definite UX discomfort in this because of I'm not saying Camelot is broken. It has nothing to do. It's not their problem, right? It's just this token did not suit the Camelot user experience well. Okay, maybe if I had done it on Uniswap, and on Uniswap you can put that output token and accept the input calculations, then maybe it would have been a different experience in that sense. Okay, now I'm going to swing back over to the charts and talk a little bit about some of the things I learned about meme coins from these charts. Okay, so let's swing over there. Okay, so here I am on the first chart. This is the Sheep version 1 coin. Okay, and this is where basically the issue happened at this point here. Nobody could trade anymore at this point, and that's where I had to redeploy. Okay, so when you see the next chart, you can kind of consider that it started off somewhere around this point. I think I ended up pricing it a little bit higher, but anyhow, so as you can see, a lot of littles. These are all me buying 2, 2, 2, 2, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, and so forth as I start dispersing to people or airdropping to people. And then once it kind of got like known and going on, it kind of ramps quite a bit, right? So, and if we do take a measurement from here to here, we see it's like a 600% increase. Now we're talking cents, right? Like 7 cents, 9 cents, or 9 cents to 7 cents. I ended up only accumulating about 1,000 of these sheep coin, but the bots during this time and some of the whales, they accumulated like a substantial amount, like 60,000 or 40,000, a good amount of these sheep coins during this time. So during this accumulation period, everybody's just aping it. Okay, they're just buying it as best they can. Okay, I made it harder for people to buy. So now, can you imagine if everyone could just buy like 1 ETH, or something like even 0.1 ETH, right? It would probably, that's why these meme coins just blast off at start. So getting in early to a meme coin is I guess how you win this game, okay? Because you get this growth, right? Now, that's assuming that all the tokens are put in at the start, whereas meme coins, they tend, so I've heard, they tend to keep some for themselves and give some free for what they call marketing, right? And that's just going to be waiting for this pump and then dump on it, right? So this is the bot. The bot started selling, right? Or people started selling, and then the herd size got broken. So then I, fixed the bug and redeployed to here, right? So roughly the same price, as you can see, 0.76, and here we're at like 0.5, but basically somewhere around here, right? So I didn't do it exactly, but I basically checked the amount of tokens in the pool, how much ETH was in the pool, and I put the exact same there. Now I'm not exactly sure why the price is completely different, but I'm not going to check. So then the bot kept selling, okay, and then some people came and started buying like crazy, little chunks. They said, they told me, I'm told, that they were just having fun, just buy, and it just goes like that. Now the bot unloads on them, unloads all of his stuff. It just basically takes all that ETH into the bot, and now I think at this point the bot is pretty much gone. So there's a few more pumps, and then is this going to go anymore? And then it's just a slow grind down to this point. Now, as I mentioned, I haven't really lost anything because I'm at the start, right? I'm not really losing anything, right? So I'm pretty safe in here. I don't feel I'm willing to leave this. I do have the cabin. It's still in the cabin. People could burn it if they wanted to go with this token and keep going with this community and keep this idea going. I do like some of the things I learned from here. I do like that it slowed down these massive buys at the start. One of the things that I learned is maybe that we should restrict wallets to a certain percentage of the supply so that someone couldn't get 5% of the supply, like cap it at like 1 or 2%. And then the idea of like actually excluding bots from this game. Now, especially in my case, because the bot had a advantage over the users, especially if we're buying, it would automatically just buy, calculate buy, and not have to go through the user experience of the front end. So this is kind of the things I learned from this. Now, like I said, I did this because I wanted to learn more about how this thing works and why it's so popular and what's going on here and so forth. But I do still feel that it's a net zero for people. Like, this token was not expensive. The market cap is like 12K. It never went, I don't know what the market cap was at this point, but it definitely didn't go into the millions, right? So I don't feel that this token was ever a huge risk to a lot of money, but maybe it could be, in the sense like these people who bought basically gave their ETH to these people who sold, right? And that is probably a bot. So it's an interesting idea, and I'm still wondering why these meme coins are so popular. And basically the idea that the only assumption I can come up with is that people want to make a quick buck. It's fun to gamble, and it's quick dollars if you win. Like if you had bought your bag at the bottom, all right, in that first version, and then you had sold somewhere up here, you would have made a substantial gain, right? So think maybe I'm just going to choose a place like maybe somewhere here and go up here. That's like a 1,800% increase. Now we're not talking like thousands and thousands of dollars, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, because there's just the market cap's 12K, right? But it's still, the idea still shines. Like with all the meme coins, the ones that are going to like $1 billion or 500 million or even like 50 million, there's a lot of money to be made in these popularity trend spikes. Okay, so I can see why people play this and why people do it, but I still feel like it's lacking any kind of genuine fundamentals. Like, it's entertainment, or with money, it's kind of gambling, like going to the slots machines, right? Now, I try my best to turn this into like an experiment with some code and some social ideas with this herd size and this restricting of buying. And I did learn some stuff out of it. And I hope that, watching this video, you learned something and you can think about this as well and put this into the thoughts of how you deal with crypto and the designs. I do think that the idea of restricting the transferability of the token based on the amount of holders is still a valid concept and should still be explored in other iterations of different tokens. And who knows, maybe I will make a Sheep version 3 token, because I do have some ideas on how to expand this and make it fun in another way as well. But I won't share those right now. I will consider whether or not I'm going to build those or not and actually deploy them. So I hope this has been useful and interesting. This has definitely been a good, interesting experience for me. I learned a lot. So thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate it, and goodbye.